Nora. Yes. You are apprehensive, laying down and actually getting another full night's rest.
Mm-hmm.
And for a short time, you kind of wrestle with it. You realize the words that Jasper spoke before were said in truth. That he was going to do everything he could to protect you, to make sure that you were safe.
I love it, but I need to not depend on it.
Even with that, you make this mental determination and fade into unconsciousness. You inhale, and the smell is familiar and yet foreign. You open your eyes and you are in darkness, but there are trees around you. There are black trees. There's just this canopy of them. Every which direction you look around, you try and glean some kind of light. Your eyes try and gain some kind of purchase on something, and instinctually you look up in a panic, wondering if you are in that same darkened abyss. And your eye catches something that wasn't there before, which is the sky. This deep midnight blue sky. And you can see barely through the canopy of trees, little speckles, hundreds and thousands of stars. You can only see 2 feet in any direction. You look over and you can see another little patch where you can look up into the sky.
Mm-hmm. If I look directly up, can I see?
Right now you're kind of like, you feel around and you're kind of at the base of a tree. And so you have to look out. So directly above you, you can barely make it out through what you assume are possibly leaves or something obscuring your vision.
Okay. And I can't see anything else around, and I can't hear anything.
Soundless.
Okay. Can I get, like, it's, I mean, I know it's heard, but Nora doesn't know. Do I feel in danger or on edge?
Naturally, you're a little bit apprehensive. You've now been in a few different locations, and this is still kind of a new experience. Look from your left, look from your right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel like you're in danger.
Can I climb the tree? Are there any low branches?
You have to feel around, and your hand does grab a hold of.
Oh, because it's really dark.
It's
even up.
Even in your dark vision, it's completely black.
Okay. Well, instead of doing that, I'm just gonna kind of sit with my back to the tree, think fondly about that nice tree back in the swamp,
Mm-hmm.
and then just kind of think and listen for a moment to see.
After you wait for a few moments, you do hear a heavier.
I stand slowly.
You stand. And you catch it out of the corner of your eyes. These 2 silvery blue flaming eyes. You see it for a moment. See it look over. See it look back. Give a nod. Turn and walk away. You can't even make out whatever this form is. All you see are these large flaming eyes.
That's shit.
And then you hear footsteps approaching. It sounds like they're walking on earth. Almost the sound of the stepping on moss, on leaves, on twigs.
I'm tense.
And emerging from the shadows, you see Jasper.
Pause. He looks suspicious.
Smiles. It's me.
Are you sure? Am I sure?
You can make an insight check. 11 looks like him, but how can you be sure? The other one looks like him too. At that point, he takes his hand, he holds it up, and he pulls down the sleeve that covers the tops of his hands, and you see a very similar ring to yours.
Hmm. Okay. I will.
I'm glad you made it out.
I will.
I was worried.
I was worried as well. Very confused at first, and
His form,
I was so stupid.
his form is slightly shimmering, slightly glowing, very, very faint. This kind of pale blue. He approaches a little closer. Ma'am? Approach.
I just nod.
He walks up. And puts his hand underneath your chin. Looks like he's giving you a quick once over to make sure that you're alright. You can just see his emerald green eyes shimmering.
Any tenseness that I had, that's
looking you in the eyes, and he's not quite a foot taller than you, but he does make you look
he's a
up.
good height.
Yeah,
good
sure,
height.
a good height. We'll go with that.
I like that
And he smiles and he places his hand back on his side, and he's like, "I'm sorry I wasn't there faster. I had been detained. The council members finally figured out that I was using a particular meeting place, and by the time I had what information I did, by the time I tried reaching you, it was almost too late. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No fault is mine for this."
You told me we shouldn't go back to that place, and I just didn't listen.
He kind of smiles. He was like, you had a hard day, and you were seeking comfort. I'm sorry I couldn't get to you then. And he holds his arms out.
Like, hug you fucking bitch.
He kind of grins, and his hair is, his hair is kind of tousled off to the side. It looks like he maybe had it pulled back and has kind of, it looked like he tried to maybe tug it loose, so it's kind of down by his side, clasped kind of at the very end.
I hug him.
He brings you in. You feel his strong arms kind of embrace you, pulling you in. He smells like the forest of home. He smells of the herbs. He smells of the Feywild. And just every wonderful thing that you've been missing. The smell of ancient parchments and scrolls.
Okay. I just whispered. I'm like, thank you.
He rests his cheek kind of on the top of your head. You feel his hand kind of brush by your ear and pulls a few strings.
I'm
away.
thankful.
Pull. He waits for you to initiate. He's like, it's okay.
Yeah, I just...
I can't imagine how scary that was for you.
It was. But I have so many questions now of what happened after.
You feel like at any point you could let go if you wanted to.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay.
At any point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just
he lets you stay there as long as you want, but at any point you feel like you could let go. Yes, we can.
I don't know. It'd probably be like a 7 to 10 second hug. And before I say that, I was unclear of what happened. It's just quiet, and then I whisper thank you and just kind of nod and then let go.
He lets you. Smiles.
It's so interesting not having that barrier.
This is certainly more convenient.
Let me see. This
He
place
looks
is
around.
lovely, but it's a bit dark.
A little bit darker for my liking too, but I have an arrangement for everyone.
I see.
We didn't really get a chance to discuss everything that happened. It all happened so quickly.
Yes, it did. I was very surprised.
I am proud of you.
Oh, listen. So what is it? I don't understand why I suddenly have wings and I don't know how to bring them back.
You are a very special individual. You already knew that, though. The bloodline on your father's side was blessed centuries and centuries ago. Much older than I am. Kind of gives you a little bit of a sassy smirk.
I chuckle slightly.
Yes. Long ago, the line was blessed by various deities and celestials as they were part of many fights. And part of that leaves traces in your bloodline. After interacting for so long, after being blessed. So in layman's terms, in the common tongue, you are in part celestial. The essence of your ancestors lingers within you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Glad I could be of
Some of us
assistance.
have fucking answers.
So how come I'm just finding out about it now?
Sometimes people go their entire lives and don't realize what this is. Or how to harness it, how to channel it. It wasn't until recently that I realized it myself. Often, some kind of event has to happen, some kind of trigger. Whether it's something internal, something calling you, something for you to survive, something for you to accomplish.
Oh, purpose.
Purpose. You should know that your steps are being guided by forces much more powerful than I am.
I find that hard to believe.
He kind of reaches forward and kind of gives you like a it's a playful ruffle on the top of your head. Not in a demeaning way, but he
No, okay.
just
I just kind of looked at him like, sorry, Sophie's having a conniption over there.
I didn't realize I had the light to turn it on. So it was just sitting there cold. I was just, oh, now I turn it.
She's just releasing gas into the apartment because she's salty.
explains things.
Turkeys were thinking for.
You're doing wonderfully.
Look, I've never put a thingy before, so you're just gonna have to forgive me, alright?
The towel's burned?
She's just releasing gas and setting fires. That's all.
It's just a little.
Oh,
Sorry!
Last year I was worried about you and now I worried about her.
There's like flames.
It was the heat of the moment.
I'm gonna pick up, okay? I couldn't help myself. That's the part of something.
This is fun.
This is fun.
Lock it in. Lock
Okay.
it in. Lock it in.
I'm sorry.
Lock it back in. You're
It's
fine.
alright, it's funny.
Bloopers.
What was the last thing said? More powerful. More powerful.
Yeah, you can kind of tosses the side of your hand. Kind of grins down and is like, no, your path is being guided by entities much more powerful than mine.
Good entities, I hope.
Only good.
Nice.
That also means that you're garnering much attention. And I have a sneaking suspicion that this is probably one of the reasons why the council members were interested in you. I was unable to attain any additional information. I managed to obtain a few scrolls here and there, and I've picked up pieces. I've brought it up to some specialists, as it were.
So you
They're
don't know.
helping to look into the matter.
So you don't know why they want to capture me.
No. Evidently, there have been a lot of things when I was gone for a time. I was meeting with several old friends, and we had many different things to discuss. And there are a lot of troubling signs. And you can see he doesn't look worried, but he looks pensive. He's trying to grasp onto straws. You can see he's trying to figure out the pieces. You can almost see in the line of logic in his mind as he's staring at him and snaps himself out of it. At any rate, I'm glad you were able to go back. Protect your friend.
Yes. He's doing better, but he's still having a lot of trouble. As it be expected. So are we training at all tonight?
We can if you want.
I'd love to. I've missed training with him.
I know a few tricks here and there. Come on. He offers his arm to you.
I take it.
Coolly. And he walks you through the forest. That faint glow off of him. You probably walk for 5-10 minutes before you come to this one particular area, and he goes over and he touches one of the trees. And after muttering a few arcane words, they begin breaking in half, and for a moment you're wondering what's going on as they begin laying down, folding, weaving, and all of a sudden there's essentially a training room for you.
Is it lit at all?
There are faint lights.
Okay.
There's just
Like a bluish glow.
a little bit of a bluish glow, and this particular area, as the trees twisted and bent, open up the sky above.
Ooh. Okay.
He steps out onto the ring. He takes off the top overcoat, the blackened robes. He says, I'm supposed to be keeping this on, but as he takes it off, you can see once again he's wearing that billowing white shirt, and he actually has on a kind of a greenish vest.
Now you're trying to kill me.
He's wait a moment. Undoes his hair, ties it back up, and takes out his sword. Well, what are we going to learn today?
I don't have my sword, do I?
No, you don't have any
I don't-
particular.
I don't have weapons that travel dreams with me.
What do you should know? He invites you into the ring as he's backing up into it.
Yeah, I follow.
I find this much more preferable. Talking through the barriers, hindering. And as you walk out into the ring, he kind of begins walking around you in a circle. Did you turn that off, or is it spewing
It's
gas? Okay. Just wondering.
So you said he took his sword out.
He took his sword out, and he kind of has it kind of at his side, and he's kind of walking around you, kind of in a circle. So he's waiting for you to give some kind of cue.
Well, I don't know. Is that what it
He just says, "What do you want to do?" It looks like he's preparing for whatever you want to do.
is? Okay, good.
Like he's not gonna shank you with his sword.
No. I have a nice patron. I want to know. Well, helping me to nail down my exact purpose with it. I don't use the word nail down. I may need some help discovering my pure purpose.
I was trying to discover that. He takes his sword and he throws, and it into the nearby tree. He's like, so you want to meditate? You want to try and manifest what you were able to summon before?
Yes.
All right, sit. Okay, he rolls up his sleeves instead.
Aw, he wanted to fight.
And he sits down directly across from you, your knees touching.
Okay.
And crisscrosses.
Mm-hmm.
He places his hands out. kind of on top of his knees, palms up.
I do the same thing. Mimicking.
What did you learn when you were on your own, meditating, thinking?
I
I
learned.
hear it helps if you close your eyes, but...
Look at my notes.
Alright. We're back from our relative lunch break, dinner break, whatever you want to call it. So,
Depending on where you're going.
after being led through the woods, you are now sitting knee to knee with Jasper.
My love. I mean,
His
my
hands
mentor.
resting at palms up on his knees, back straight. He's looking at you and waiting as he asks, what was it you wanted to know?
I'm like, that's not the question he asked. He said, what have you learned?
Okay.
That's the question.
Okay, that's what we left off on. Okay, yeah. What have you learned?
When she
Just-
takes notes.
Like study for the
Yeah,
wrong
actually,
exam.
yeah.
Like, okay, so he said, what have I learned? So, well, before I had to leave my homeland and come to strange places, I hadn't traveled very much. And what I've discovered in my travels is that there are so many people who feel very alone, and all of them have so much pain that they carry in their hearts, and I thought I might have been the only one. But the problem is that they don't have someone who they can confide in, like how I have you to confide in. And I want to be that for them.
And smile plays on his lips.
Okay. Let's see. From that, I found that I do have a soft spot for those who cry out silently in their hearts. I'm trying to remember what she's saying.
You've always been very kind of heart.
Didn't realize how much people actually need things like that, though.
Very few will rise to the occasion, to the challenge of aiding someone else when there is no direct benefit to themselves. That's what makes you special.
Kind of nod. So, but I can only do so much with my current level. Speaking English.
We all have to begin our journey somewhere.
Yes.
It just so happens that some people's journeys are longer than others. It's natural. And sometimes you won't be able to save everyone. And that's okay. Because the next time, you will rise.
Yes.
You can see kind of almost a sad smile kind of on his face.
And I would determine, I'm like, yes, I will rise to the occasion. That's all the notes I had.
So what do you want to glean from this training? We only have so much time.
That is true.
And I already know. Okay, his eyes kind of flick over to the forest. And you look.
Yes.
You look over your shoulder and you can see two sets of eyes. One of them illuminated, bright, burning. Reflects electricity sparking off of its body. You can't quite make out what it is, but you also see these silvery blue eyes with licking flame nearby as they vanish into the shadows. This is not my domain. I'm on borrowed time.
Are those the friends you spoke of?
One of them. The other I haven't had the pleasure of meeting. I'm sure that'll be an interesting conversation.
Just fucking look.
You're just like, as you're. as you're keeping watch.
Naughty pigeon.
You the bad pigeon.
Let's see. So, with the limited time we have, what do you propose we do?
You need to better be able to harness your abilities.
Alright.
One way I can think of is simple practice. And work on your spells. But while I have you here, I'm going to there's a little bit of a weird smile. And it shakes it off. It might be better to help guide you through. If that's what you want. Be better being able to harness your bloodline ability.
Yes. That's a good plan.
What did you focus on last time? Close your eyes. Tell me.
I thought, well, out of character. I thought that's what I was just doing, but anyway, okay. Let's see. I thought about needing to, or how it feels whenever I defy someone's negative expectations. That was like, when did I defy negative expectations? I suppose any time that I interacted with people from the Drow City, I like to think that I defied their expectations of what they thought I was going to act like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Focus on those feelings.
Okay. Focusing on the feelings.
And close your eyes and start focusing on
The good feelings of, they thought I was going to be awful, and I'm actually pretty cool.
it. Being insightful. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom. It's okay. Wisdom is okay. 15.
Sitting there thinking about it, and having Jasper here, not as a crutch, as a guide now. Starting to let you think harder, stronger about these instances. You begin feeling warmth spread through your chest. And you're starting to feel it spread across your entire body, like you're standing under a warm waterfall, just dripping down your arms, through your torso, past your legs. Alright. What else?
Let's see, before I thought about whenever I wasn't interacting with people and defying expectations. I was often alone, especially in the dress. I think that's where my need to need to protect those who can't not necessarily protect themselves, but help them out of their inner turmoil. And then I'm going to think, let's see, it was about and I got those feelings from whenever I helped Zoom and Talal. They seemed like they were in turmoil, and I like to think I helped just a little bit. I think that's Zoom and Talal.
Make another wisdom saving throw.
I'm going for charisma. 15 again.
15. You begin feeling it starting to coalesce, pulling from your limbs, aligning to your back, though it's slow moving. Alright, concentrate harder.
And then
You feel his fingers kind of brush against yours.
I have like that studio
Bullshit.
that Studio Ghibli thing where like you see the crawl. Only it's the good one with like let's see.
Different people require different approaches.
Apparently!
What's the question? I focused on
Violence breeds violence. Gosh, bae!
I also thought about how I wanted to be seen. This kind of ties into what I was saying previously, but how I want to be seen as someone who can help others out of their slump. Hold on a second. Kind of like how you helped me out of mine long ago. By being there and I know that you care. That's so cheesy. I don't know what else to say. That was amazing.
It still sounds like you're reflecting. Make another wisdom saving throw.
Okay.
You started on
I got the
you start. You feel yourself talking in circles. You start to get yourself confused. You start feeling the energy begin to dissipate. He kind of grabs your hands and says, "Focus. You are on the right track." Nora, focus.
Focusing.
Focus.
Okay.
And tell me what you want to be for them. How are you going to do that?
I want to be someone they know they can rely on. Someone that they can look to know what to do whenever everything else has gone wrong. I want to be the thing that comes through at the very end, or not the very end, but the thing that comes through and never fails.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Yes! Don't you dare. 11.
11. The dissipating has stopped.
Ow!
You still feel it. You still feel that energy swirling your limbs. Keep going, he encourages.
How to defy, I want to be seen strong. Expectations, you see what
I have focus on what you want to be. You want to be that force of personality. You want to be that person that others can run to. Build on that.
Okay, I want to be a person that those can run to someone who makes, or someone who people have confidence in, and they can use as refuge.
You need to focus, Nora. Focus.
I'm trying. Gosh darn it, Madison. Okay. I want to be the light in the darkness. Because the world, I now realize, is full of so much pain. Just kind of getting a little bit upset, but really not. Just thinking back to the village and how everything was destroyed mercilessly, and how the others, or the spindly one and the others, they took joy in causing pain. Yeah, I would have seen that. and how there's just this just like bad and good, evil and not evil. Oh my gosh, I wanted this to be so much cooler.
Anything I felt, at least I was being stupid and getting electrocuted by lightning. I was just being a little stupid.
Nora, focus.
What am I supposed to say? Okay. What have you seen? Expectations. To prove yourself. I have to prove myself. How am I going to do that? Well, as I am now, I can't do as much as I'd like, but I have to become stronger in order to actually become this force that I want to be.
Getting back into reflection. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah. Come on, okay. 11.
You feel the energy starting to dissipate.
No!
Starting to leave.
So I'm supposed to reflect on how I
Feel
got
it pull back into your chest.
Is it gone?
No.
Okay.
Just barely flicker of a flame now. You have to cling on to it.
Okay.
How do you cling on to it?
I'm going to think of whenever I woke up and I was bound, and I just woke up and saw chaos, and I would have seen Zoom, and I would have seen Talavin and all these monsters around.
You didn't see Talavin.
Yeah.
Tell I thought you said, no, I'm sorry.
That's you.
Hello. Oh, my bad.
Yes, I saw you too.
Nicknames. Mixed it up.
And I saw them, and then it was my first instinct. I acted on instinct, and that was to protect the ones. No, that's still backtracking.
That's charisma.
Is it?
It's the force. Your force of personality. Your instinct was to go and protect.
Yes.
And to enact your will upon someone else.
Yes. I wanted to protect them because I saw that they were in trouble, and I just started moving without thinking, which is probably a good thing considering my goals.
Make a charisma saving throw.
Okay, Chris. 23.
As you start thinking about that, it begins growing. Again, you feel it pulse through your body. It says, keep going.
Also, whenever else happened?
You want to be that force. You want to be that person. How are you going to be that person?
I will put my self aside and
Same squeezes spiritually.
and put others before myself. Because strength in number. No. Because I want to give. I don't want to take. I want to create and build things that are secured.
What do you want? How are you going to get there?
I want to save everyone from themselves and from outside forces. Because people can cause just as much pain internally as externally. Pulling on my pants, which I guess it's wisdom again, isn't it?
You went insightful again. Yeah, it's another wisdom.
Okay.
You started off charisma.
No!
We started off charisma, went into insight.
Charisma's hard to, like, figure out. See my own personal, how I feel. Okay. 9.
Starts to dissipate again. You're right at that border. He
No!
leans in. You can smell his breath like fresh mint. He says, start by saying, I will.
Oh?
What are you going to do? How are you going to enact what you want on the world? What do you want?
I will be and do whatever I need to do to protect the ones that I care about.
Make a charisma saving.
I will. My will is the key, because it is my will. 19, 25.
That little spark of encouragement begins spreading that warmth again through your limbs. You're fighting every moment like a flickering flame in a torrent windstorm. And as it coalesces, you feel it surging in your body.
I
You
will.
can feel it in every vein, in every fiber, every muscle. It's tensing. It's waiting for that breaking point.
I will not give up even when the odds are against me to protect those I care about.
Make another charisma saving throw.
14.
It starts gathering near your back, but it's still this energy is just still swirling. You're needing a focus point. You need that focal point. You need something to focus on. Maybe someone to focus on. Not the pigeon.
Not the pigeon, no. Someone to focus on.
Something, someone.
Just like a little. Just like a little.
No. Everything is silent here. If there were any birds, they would be eaten and gone.
I will make it to the northern village in time to save the sprites.
Make another charisma saving throw.
14.
Again, energy starts gathering. Oh, it's so slow. It's creeping along. You need that breaking point. You need that focus point. You need it.
Come on, Mackenzie.
They do really hard.
You can feel Jasper's emerald eyes just staring intently at you. He wants to just tell you. He wants you to make it. He's sitting there believing every fiber that you can make it, that you can do this. You feel his hands mesh with yours, clasping at your fingers. He can't help you this time. This domain is different than the one back home. All he can do is offer his words in this moment.
I will be so strong one day that I'll be able to even help you.
Make a charisma saving throw. You do get advantage on this one.
21.
21. With that proclamation, that small insight that you suspected but proclaimed now. You feel the energy coalesce, surging up your back now. You feel it burning white hot against your spine, leading up into your shoulder blades. As white hot. You're not sure if it's icy cold, if it's burning.
Another one?
Oh gosh, I was hoping that made the last one. Okay.
You feel his fingers clasping against yours as he's looking at you intently.
Might be more distracting than it is helpful, but it is so kind of helpful.
Focus, Nora. You know the answer already.
Oh my god.
But Mackenzie doesn't! And Nora is Mackenzie!
Who is this Mackenzie? Who is that?
You can make an intelligence check real quick.
Yes? 14?
It goes back to those words. Those 3 words that you discovered while meditating in the darkness.
What
Your
words?
your desire. You did. She did.
No, I didn't.
There were 3 words. Mm-hmm.
Give and take.
3 words that were that were selfish and yet giving.
Oh,
3 words
to prove
that
yourself. I will prove myself. Wait, is that... Did I write that down? Is that right?
Is that what you think?
Hang on, because it was helping others because you... Yeah! You prove yourself to others and to yourself. That's 4. I will prove myself.
Myself is 1 word.
I will prove
Oh.
myself.
No, I said it goes back to those 3 words. Not that it was only 3 words.
Yeah, that's the prove yourself.
His fingers grasp against yours. He says, "You know the answer. Say it." Your mind is focused on those 3 words. Your desire.
My desire.
Your internal desire, your external desire to prove yourself. And you simply say it.
Something to say?
Just say it.
But I did. To prove
Say it
yourself.
again.
To prove myself. Yeah, well, yeah. But I already said them. I said them before. What?
Did you?
Oh.
I don't think you did.
Oh.
You were talking to yourself.
To prove myself. I will prove myself.
Doesn't have to be. Mine's like a whole sentence.
Okay, yeah, I say it. To prove myself. I will prove myself.
Make another charisma saving throw.
Okay.
You feel that white hot tension burning in your back. You feel it
10.
just surging. It starts to creep back down your spine. He says, "Focus, Nora. Focus. You will prove yourself. That little bit of self-doubt that you feel you can do it."
I repeat it again. I will prove myself.
More confidently, you proclaim it. Make another charisma saving throw. Before you were unsure, before you felt that little bit of nervousness, you feel everyone else's natural.
Can I have a vision?
You start feeling it crawl down your spine. You feel his hands grasp yours. Nora, you can't worry about what they think. You can only control what you can. Focus.
I can do it! No, that was me saying. Not like in a way. I'm like, I can do it! Not like... Yes.
Nora. Focus.
I take a breath.
That energy is threatening to rip your insides apart. You feel it churning your insides. You feel your muscles threatening to spasm. In a way, you almost want to come back to consciousness because this trembling in your body is so great.
I will not fail. I will prove myself, and I will protect protect everyone.
Make another charisma saving throw.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. 19 plus 6 is 25.
The energy draws back up into your spine. You're back at that breaking point. You feel it searing white hot against your shoulder blades. You can almost feel your skin breaking. You're right there. You feel his eyes eagerly watching. You can do it. Try again.
Don't want to keep saying that I can prove myself because I'm obviously not proving myself.
Focus, Nora. Use that as your focal point. Concentrate.
Concentrating and. Okay.
Your muscles are starting to ache. They're starting to seize.
I know. Let's see, what's another word for prove yourself? Well. I will succeed in my adventures. I will
You feel your blood pounding in your ears.
I will use every resource available to me. I will take my dying breath in protecting those who cannot protect themselves.
Doesn't know.
I know, you're making this kind of easy for me. Mine's way easier.
Make another charisma saving throw.
Come on. 17.
Are your eyes open or closed? You keep opening and closing them every once in a while.
I imagine they were closed.
You feel the energy
Because I felt it.
dissipate.
Mm.
And there's a coldness in your body. And there's stillness.
I didn't make it.
No, I'm not your eyes are closed.
I opened my eyes.
You see Jasper smiling. And at either side of you, laid against the ground, partially wrapped around you both, are the same midnight blue black wings. Traces of silver among the wings. Almost like a glitter or powder. And they seep into this liquid mercury color, sharp at the edges like daggers and blades. And smiles. And releases your hands.
I kind of want to touch them. I'm like,
You reach out and it's the softest thing you've ever touched. On either side. Your hand runs against one of them, and it's very sharp.
I kind of,
He leans back, and placing one hand on either side as he leans back. That was an adventure. It took you a minute.
that was rough. Thank you for hanging in there.
You're too insightful for your own good. Don't be afraid to commit.
Mm. I kind of stand up a little bit.
You stand up. He watches you stand up. Just sitting.
I kind of back up a little bit and just kind of like, I want to like move them. Like,
As simple as moving your arms.
it's so natural. I say that by the way.
It ought to be. It's a part of you. Just as much as your arms, your brain.
Yes. Can I like flap them a little bit, like
You try to fly?
just enough to like lift myself, like a one flap thing, like a.
It's more of a glide as you kind of leap up and you catch yourself in it. It slows your descent.
Will it always be this hard to get them out?
Hopefully you're able to find that focus point, manifest it, and over time it will get easier.
Mm. Nora's actually very happy in herself.
He smiles. With one quick, fluid motion, he spins and stands. I'm afraid our time is up.
Oh. These aren't out in the real world, are they?
No.
Okay.
That is a different matter entirely. He comes over and he kind of brushes your cheek and puts another strand of hair behind your ear.
Thank you for coming today.
Should you see the gate again, don't go back.
I
It
won't.
might be a while. I'm again on borrowed time here. I don't want to overstay my welcome.
Mm. Nora kind of like looks really guilty and blushes and looks away when he says, "Don't go back to the gate." But then she kind of like, and then like, "I won't."
His hand kind of rests on your shoulder. It's okay.
It's his case. Sorry. He's like my dream dude. Okay.
His hand kind of reaches over and touches your chin. He's like, it's time to wake up. And as he backs away and with a quick flick of his wrist, the cloak comes back to his hand. He spins it around, and in that moment of that fluid darkness, the vision takes you